Well, I'll open with, this is a tremendous rivalry. It's got great tradition, great history in it. Great fans tonight. I want to commend our fans for the job they did. I really thought that our fan base affected the game more so in the second half. The energy they had, the enthusiasm they had, really helped our defense, fed off that fan base, and kind of helped their late in the game in pass rush situations. But I also want to thank these seniors. There's a group of seniors on this team that have stuck with our staff, stuck with our organization, and believed in us, and helped be a voice to the younger players through some tough times. And they've done a good job of sticking together, continue to work. I think our goal all along has been to make this team become what it's capable of. And you want it to happen early, of course, but what matters most is that it does happen. And we're starting to see some of that resiliency and push and getting better and improvement that we've talked about all year. But we still got a ways to go. We still got a lot of young puppies out there, and we still made some mistakes tonight, but we were able to overcome them. So I'm proud of those guys.
Kirby, just the second half defense as a whole, I mean, all three and outs, so only 30 or so yards. I mean, the effort it took to make that happen.
Wow, it was a great job by Mel Tucker, the defensive staff. Those guys worked really hard. Coach Rocky, Coach Sherrick, Coach Schumann, the entire defense staff, and those players believe that they're going to stop them. They believe every time they go out on the field, they're going to stop them. And they worked really hard. And I'm really proud of that staff and those players, because those players have bought in to the system that Mel's installed, and they really believe that they can stop anybody. They got a lot of confidence right now, and they're playing hard.
Kirby, on the other side of that, your offense, other than that last drive where you guys kneeled on it, had only two drives where you had less than 6 plays. I mean, how does that contribute to the overall, did the defense, the offense affect the game in general?
Absolutely, and I don't think people give enough credit. It's a great point that you were saying. I had somebody ask me just earlier, I think it was Chuck, saying that our defense got to rest. And going into this game, that was my major concern, was not getting to rest on defense because of their tempo. You negate their tempo when you eat clock with your offense, and you're able to get some first downs. Even if you don't score, cash it in, get in field goal range, and get knocked out. I mean, all the things that we did wrong, we possessed the ball. And that's huge for a defense when you play Auburn, because you got juice. And they're at their best when they get rolling. If they don't get rolling, that's when they struggle more. And I thought that was key, because we had some defensive players dinged up, down. Nate Patrick didn't play this game, and he's been injured, and that was a tough loss for the physicality of that game. Reggie Carter and Roquan Smith stepped up and played. Even Johnny O'Neal got in there and got some action. So I think that was really key, that we got rest, and we didn't have to play those guys for a lot of snaps.
Randy Johnson was getting out on the edge a lot in the first half, but did y'all make any big adjustments to take it away from him in the second half, when he was bouncing outside a lot?
We did make some adjustments, and we tried to simplify some things. I mean, every time you play them, you come out of the game thinking, I probably should have done less. And they had us confused on a couple things with things they were doing, and the kids settled down. We talked to them about playing some simpler things at halftime, and that helped. At the end of the day, we just tackled better and struck better up front, because they were grinding us early.
How do you think your offensive line held?
So,
How do you think your offensive line held up without Isaiah and what's his status?
Not real sure on Isaiah. He's got a knee injury, but I don't know the severity of it. I don't know the grade. I don't know the exact yet. I think we'll find that out tomorrow. But how do I think they held up? I think they just played one of the best defensive lines in the country, and they fought their tails off. So I know everybody wants to criticize the offensive line, but they play hard. They're really smart kids. They play with toughness. They do the things we ask them to do, and I'm proud of the way they compete. There's some good leaders in that group, guys.
Kirby, what were you thinking for Mo Smith when he returned that interception?
What was I thinking?
Yeah.
Oh, for him?
Yeah.
I was happy for him. The kid works, man. There's nobody that I've seen in my coaching career that works as hard day in and day out. I mean, I've been coaching for a long time. He works hard. I saw him work hard myself for all those years, and now he's mature. He knows what play's coming before it comes a lot of times. He's a mature kid, and he's become one of the best leaders on this team. He's not afraid to speak, so I was happy for him.
Kirby, he was receiving texts like beat Auburn, because obviously he's got tons of friends at Alabama, and you do too. I mean, there's some irony there that the one touchdown you scored today is by a former Alabama player that kind of punched the ticket for them.
Yeah, I guess it is. I'm happy happy for Mo. I'm happy for our kids here, and that's the focal point for me, because these guys have fought to get better.
And what happened to Marshall Long? Can you tell us about his injury and when it happened and all that kind of thing?
Yeah, it happened in practice last week, a freak deal, and I don't know how long he'll be out for, but it'll require surgery. So he's gonna recover. He'll fully recover, and we hope to get him back. And obviously, our thoughts and prayers with his family and him. But it's a tough injury. And sometimes it happens in football. But yeah, I hate it at this time because he was really coming into his own, and I hate that situation.
Kirby, you sort of the Jacob Eason to Isaac Naut on third down seemed to be a little bit more comfortable as the season progresses. Can you sort of speak on how a guy like Nauta can create mismatches on tight ends and some either smaller or slower guys?
Yeah, I mean, he does a good job doing what he does. The routes you're talking about, I don't know that they were mismatches. They were good confusion, motioning people across the field, guy dragging. I mean, it wasn't like he beat a guy man to man. It was a good called play, good executed play, threw and caught the ball, had a couple opportunities to catch some over the middle that he dropped that were big plays. You know, I thought that was a big part of it. Jacob obviously feels comfortable with Isaac. They know where each other are. But, look, we got a bunch of freshmen playing on this team, and they can improve. But, man, they competed tonight, and they competed hard.
Coach, wasn't that long ago that we were sitting here talking about our problems with issues with the special teams, but they really did a good job on all phases of kicking coverage and all that today.
Yeah, Rodrigo helped with the kick coverage. I mean, look what he did. He hit the thing upright. I mean, you're talking about juicing one. He got into it. But, you know, I'm really proud of the punt return team. Now, I'm not proud of DeAndre Walker for the decision he made that almost lost it and came on the field on, but I'm really proud of Isaiah because, guys, that y'all know their punt coverage? Does anybody know the stats on that?
Minus 3 yards, I think.
2 returns?
Yeah,
Two
two
returns,
returns.
Entire year, maybe what? 2 returns entire year, and they're -3?
Something like that.
So we worked really hard because we thought we could make a punt. We thought that could change the game. And you gotta work hard to get a return on that punter. And we finally got one, and it kind of juiced the fans. Call it 20 yards, call it 2 first downs, but hey, finally we're flipping the field position, which has been a tough situation all year.
Going back to Maurice's play, how pivotal was it that he not only made the interception, but that he was able to score?
Yeah, you know, I think Coach Tucker does a great job. It's the goodest thing I've ever been around of talking about scoring on defense. He challenges them every Friday night. He even shows reels of all the defensive touchdowns in the conference. So you can imagine those kids get so jealous because they have to watch their guys they got recruited with, the peers, every team scoring on defense. And we've had 2 of them, I guess. We had North Carolina and we had the other game, Nichols, I think. But, you know, they're hungry to do that. So when they get one, they all go block. They all stay up high. He made some good cuts. Looked like a receiver a little bit there and scored.
Kirby, they got 3, given their struggles in the passing game, in the third down, they had 2 3rd and 2s and a 3rd and 3. Were you surprised that on every situation they threw?
Yeah, I really hadn't thought about that. You know, I didn't know it was 2 3rd and 2s and a 3rd and 3. I mean, you know, if you're not running the ball well, you gotta be willing to throw it. They certainly do it well, and they've got a good football team. You know, they didn't have their back, and I saw him before the game. He's a really good player, so I hate that for them. But when you're struggling to run it, sometimes you gotta do other things. And that's not really for me to judge. We just gotta stop them.
What does that say about your defensive front to be able to hold them to 127?
Says they strike, they knock people back. You gotta do more of it. You gotta play with toughness. We tackled better. You know, wrapped up. We didn't seem to give up the extra yardage that we gave up on Kentucky several times. And the kids worked hard. We tried to simplify the game plan because of how much they did. You know, and I think Coach Sherry, Coach Rocker helped with that because they played Auburn really well the last 2 years. They played well defensively against Auburn. So we share ideas sometimes across the board, but those guys did a good job.
How important was it for the offense to be able to eat the clock in the fourth quarter to essentially take the game out of Auburn's hands?
It was huge. I just so bad wanted to cash in on that touchdown to give a little bit of breathing room right there. We got to get, we're in the red area. We can get those balls in the end zone. But the time they chewed up, forcing them to call their timeouts, I mean, really that's the difference in the game. Because when they go out in 2 minutes, they can't stop the clock.
Coach, what is the potential of this defense right now? I know a lot of people say that they're young, but they just held a team that normally averages over 40 points a game to 7 points. Where can they move forward and where can they improve?
Well, they held a team that didn't have their starting back. Let's preface it with that. Do I love the way our kids played? Absolutely. But it's about players in this league. And those kids played hard. No first downs in the second half. I didn't even realize that. You know what I mean? Until I walked off the field. I'm proud of the way they played. but we can get better. We can show improvement, and we've got to continue to do that. I'm proud about the way they competed. Those guys, I mean, they knew they could be physical. They knew that team was physical. We challenged them all week. Auburn's got a physical team, but so are we. So they were able to go out and respond to it.
Kirby, Sean White comes into this game, I think the SEC's most efficient passer. You guys hold him to 30%. Is there anything specific you feel like you guys did well to do that?
We executed. I mean, I'll be honest with you, it's probably wasn't a call in that game that we had not called in the past on Auburn. There wasn't a play they ran that they haven't run in the past. So it's not about tricks, gimmicks, and schemes. It's about guys executing. And to be honest, I thought Coach Tucker, I mean, at the end of the day, sometimes you hit them right. He hit them right. He called some good calls today. He called some good pressures. He called some good coverages. He called a good game. And the kids executed it and believed in it.
Can you explain the reasoning behind the 2 trick plays down at the goal line?
Yeah, the first one's on me. The first one, I've been wanting to call that all year with Terry, because I know what defenses do. They check, and they go all out to stop Terry there. And I watched Terry growing up. I've seen him throw the ball. I've watched that play on our offense. I mean, our defense. They scored twice on that play against us in practice. So the first one I just thought was going to be there. I thought all week. So I told Coach Chang I want it. He agreed. We went with it. Terry just made a pretty bad decision there. You know, Terry could have thrown that ball out of bounds, kicked a field goal, and go play. He knows it. But then the last one wasn't really so much of a trick play as much as it was we thought the play was going to work. It's been 7 for 7 in college football this year. People scored on it. Everybody does it. It's a direct play where nobody covers the quarterback. They didn't cover him. Ball floated a little too much. And I thought it was an aggressive call. We were going to win the game. You know what I mean? You want to run the ball 3rd and 4th, go? No, we want to find a way to get it in. And we thought the kid, 6'6", go up and get it, and their guy made a good play.
He didn't get it. That seemed like about the only thing that he kind of
Didn't do right.
He got popped pretty hard on that play. That's what I was going to say. That seemed like about the only thing that really didn't go his way tonight.
Well,
he played pretty well.
He did play well. I give the kid credit where credit's due. He's getting better, and we can't take sacks and field goal range. We got to get rid of the ball, make good decisions, and he's improved. He's got to continue to improve. But that play, I still think that he makes it the next time he goes up strong with his hands.
Coach, you said it yourself, Auburn has one of the best defensive lines you've seen.
Yeah.
So, were you running, it seemed like you guys were running more toss sweeps, kind of, was it to stay away from
I
that?
wonder why. 1, 3, 5, the single-digit line. They're big now, and they come off the ball hard. They play physical. And, I thought we did some things to try to confuse them today, and it helped us get some easier plays, you know. But hey, it's hard sledding up in there. If you don't do it at all, it's hard to keep them honest.
There was a moment sort of
late last week with your back against the wall to what happened today. Do you sense sort of a foundational change maybe with the guys on this team moving?
Well, like I opened the opening statement, I think that we're constantly in pursuit of improvement and getting to a certain place, to a standard. And that doesn't change based on outcomes. It doesn't change, I know for y'all it changes based on outcomes, but that's the SEC. Welcome to the SEC. Every game is going to be tight. Every game's close, outside of one team that's an outlier right now, but the rest of them, they're tight, guys. And they're tough games, they're physical games. And I think our kids are getting more and more confident in believing in that a close game we're going to win.
Kirby, though, from a momentum standpoint, what does a win like this do for those guys?
It does wonders for the program, the university, the recruiting. And I remember talking to y'all, I want to go see those guys, you know, and I think that's a big part. It gives our kids something they can hang their hat on and say, hey, look, if we do this right, what coach is saying is true. I believe in it. We had a great speaker come in, a Navy SEAL guy that came in, 26-year captain of Navy SEALs that spoke to the team. I thought he did an awesome job. He grabbed their attention. It was a change up from me being boring, and he did an awesome job. And he talked about being relevant. What is your relevance? And how did you become relevant? It's not go out and beat Auburn. It's what's my relevance in this game? How am I going to affect this game? Is it covering a kick? Is it affecting a player that's got to go in the game because I'm not going to play? And everybody's got to find their relevance. And I thought that a lot of our kids try to do that by affecting each other.
You mentioned holding them without a first down in the second half. Just how big is that for you, given that in some pretty good defensive performances in the past, there were some times where you weren't able to get off the field in those situations?
I don't really understand your question.
Just better third down efficiency.
Better third down
yes.
efficiency? How does it make me feel? I'm happy for the defense. I'm happy for the kids because they're the ones who did it. I didn't have anything to do with those guys stopping them. You know what I mean? What reason we stopped him a lot was because we were on the sideline drinking Gatorade for a lot of those minutes resting because of what the offense did. You know, because Bryce Ramsey went out there and hit some balls inside the 20. He got one he'd like to have back, but that's all right.
Coach Malcolm Parrish, he's a guy that nobody really talks about. You don't even get talked about much. I mean, DeAndre Baker's kind of been the guy everybody's talking about the last few weeks with him getting snaps. But it seems like teams don't really attack him very much. They don't try to go after him. He's a solid tackler. Makes the special teams play. How have you seen him kind of grow up this year and just kind of talk about the plays he's been making?
Baker or Malcolm?
Malcolm Parrish.
Okay, Malcolm, yeah. Well, Malcolm's had ups and downs, like all of us. You go back, everybody's criticizing Ole Miss. You know, he gets beat a couple times. He never stopped working. He just kept competing. He kept fighting. You know, we made a change there and then made another change, and he came back in the lineup. It just goes to show that we're going to value practice. It's important. How you do it in practice dictates the game, and he did better in practice. So he got to play. He's a good physical tackler. He works hard. It's important to Malcolm. He's one of the guys in the leadership group that I know is always going to be honest with me. So I've been really proud of the way he's competed and the way he tackles, the way he goes about business in practice. And if you do that right, you got a chance to be successful.
Last question.
Kirby, how's your coaching kind of evolved, your coaching identity evolved this season?
Well, I think I'm getting more and more comfortable with game time stuff, with game time decisions. I think that comes through time. I mean, for me, it's just kind of, I've always been in that thought process anyway. What do you do here? What do you do there? And trying to think one step ahead all the time to, whether it's conservative timeouts, making decisions on whether to kneel the ball or run it. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes into that. And that's the part that I'm probably involved the most.
Are you where you want to be?
No, never where we want to be. When we want to be, we've arrived, and nobody's arrived. Thank you, guys. Go